Welcome to Normal Baseball. Today we are continuing our 2023 Will Be team projections. Today we got the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's get into it. What is going on? Welcome back to Normal Baseball. Today we are continuing our 2023 Will Be series, our team projections for the 2023 MLB season. We are continuing today with the Tampa Bay Rays. We did a power ranking of every MLB team. We went based on 7 categories: lineup, bench, defense, rotation. That was rude.
Sorry.
Rotation, bullpen, coaching, and energy. We did each one 1 to 10, and we added up all the scores, and we used the rankings highest to lowest. The Tampa Bay Rays, which we are covering today, got a total score of 51.1 out of 70. They are according to our metrics of our system, they are the 14th best team in baseball, the 8th best team in the American League. And we're gonna talk about them today. We're gonna kind of go through every section, let you guys know what we think about them, why we gave them the scores that we did, and what we think they are going to do this season. So, without further ado, we will begin. This lineup, we'll start with the lineup as always. This lineup we gave a 7.3 out of 10. This lineup going into this season is looking like Yandy Diaz, Wander Franco, Randy Arozarena, Brandon Lau, Harold Ramirez, Manuel Margot, Isaac Paredes, Christian Bethancourt, and Jose Siri. It is a lineup that is very Rays. It's the Rays we're used to. It's a very Rays lineup. This team is probably going to find a way to do very good.
Yeah, which is absolutely mind-boggling because when you look at it, you see, okay, Wander, Arozarena, Brandon Lau, Yandy Diaz, like in the top 4. All right, that's solid. And then you look at the other 5 guys in the lineup and you think, I barely even heard these names. And then you start to think, and then you realize, well, it is the Rays. So they'll find a way to win no matter what. And that's what scares me about this because it's so many unknowns in their lineup.
Yeah, last year they went 86 and 76 with a worse lineup than this. Last season, they only had Wander Franco half the season, and he is a young stud shortstop. And Brandon Lau, I almost said Lowe. Brandon Lau was barely played any games, so having him back is going to be extremely valuable and extremely important to this team. I also really like Jose Siri in this lineup. I think he has potential. I know he wasn't great last season for them. They got him from the Astros. But last season, he, in 56 games, batted .241, .660 OPS, 8 steals, though, and 9 doubles. So, I think he's got potential. He's one of my favorite people in this lineup. Other guys, of course, like you said, Randy Arozarena, Wander Franco. Those are the guys who you expect to come out and just absolutely crush the ball.
Yeah. And I think that we're going to see plenty of it this season. They seem to be a team that, I mean, there's only so many ways that you can say that they seem that they're just going to find a way to win. But it also wouldn't surprise me if this were one of those Rays years where instead of trading for these guys who are prospects, I could see them trading away some of these guys at the deadline if they're not really in the thick of the race. Is that weird to say?
I wouldn't say that's weird to say at all. That seems fair, almost.
I think the only 2 that are safe are Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena. I think everybody else, if they are not in contention and not really on the up and up as we expect, anybody not named Wander and Randy would definitely be traded from their lineup. Could definitely be traded, not would be.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I don't think they're trading anyone besides those two. They're not trading Brandon Lau. They're not going to trade Yandy Diaz.
I don't know.
They're not trading most of these
But
guys.
it would be a very Rays thing to trade away one of these guys that they built and get like 3 more of them back. It's
not
like
necessarily. That usually Rays do the prospect for prospect trades and kind of come out on top somehow.
Yeah, true.
Not usually giving away their guys that they develop. Although they did give away Brooks Raley to the Mets, traded him away, which kind of surprised a lot of people. He is a very good player. But whoever they got back for him will probably turn out to be like the next Mariano Rivera, because that's just how the Rays work.
That is true.
I don't know how they do it. But they be doing it.
Extremely young lineup too. Only 2 guys who are on the other side of 30. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's a Rays lineup.
It's the Rays.
This lineup matches the Tampa Bay Rays. Like, it just makes so much sense that this is the Tampa Bay Rays lineup.
Yeah, and based on potential and the proven, I don't want to say the word greatness, and the proven skill of these guys in the lineup, it's exactly why we gave them a 7.3 out of 10.
Yeah, no, it's a lineup that, towards the bottom you got Bethancourt and Paredes and Margot, who are solid hitters, but nothing crazy. They don't put together amazing seasons. It's just a very solid lineup. It's a Rays lineup. It's not gonna look like it's the best lineup out there, but once the season starts, it very well could be the best lineup out there.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. And then you look at their bench, which is nothing too shabby. We gave their bench a 6.2 out of 10. Their bench is looking like Francisco Mejia, switch hitting catcher, Taylor Walls, switch hitting infielder,
former shortstop for them last season.
Yeah, Jonathan Aranda, an infielder, outfielder, and then Luke Raley, who is a outfielder and a first baseman.
Yeah.
But we gave a 6.2. It's not a horrible bench at all. Francisco Mejia certainly can hold his own against most pitchers. But then the other names under him are just kind of like filler names. Like, they're good to... They're good if you put them in a game. They're going to be starting like every once in a while. Same thing with Francisco Mejia, of course. It's a solid bench. It's not starters, but they definitely are bench pieces that I like.
I think if needed,
for this team,
any of these guys can come in and be effective at, as a starter. If of course, God forbid, knock on wood, anybody gets hurt. I think that these guys on their bench are more than serviceable for a time, not permanently though.
No. Not permanently. They're not going to have these guys for the next 15 years,
That's what I just said, not permanently.
Well, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like Francisco Mejia is good, but he's not... Francisco Mejia could honestly be their starting catcher. I think he should over Bethancourt, but I guess it kind of depends on who they're playing, how they play. But I do find it interesting, and I do think that the Rays bench is not up there with the best, but it's not down there with the worst.
Yep.
So that kind of makes the 6.2 make a little more sense. Their defense, we gave them a 7.4 out of 10. We were pretty high on this defense. This is one of the higher defenses we've seen so far. I believe it's tied for the second highest we've seen so far. It's a good defense. Yandy Diaz is an amazing defender, no matter which corner he's at, first or third.
Yep.
Wander is going to be good defensively, of course. Randy Rosarena can decently play defense.
He has the wheels that make up for what could be mistakes.
Yeah. I still don't I think that makes him a plus defender. I think he's kind of neutral.
Yeah, very much neutral. But if it were not for his speed and agility, he would definitely be a negative defender.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Jose Siri,
he wouldn't be a left
fielder.
Yeah, he wouldn't really be an outfielder. Jose Siri is a really good center fielder.
Yep.
And then it's a good defensive lineup. When you look at most of the people in here. There's no real holes in their lineup. There's no guys that you look at and say, that guy's not great of a defender. That guy could probably DH mostly.
Yeah,
the one guy you could look at like that is Harold Ramirez, who is probably going to be DHing most of the time.
Yep.
So, I mean, defense is good. 7.3 makes sense to me.
What's so weird about this Rays lineup, now that like we're talking about their positioning and all about it more, they seem to have this thing where it's like every player who's at every position, they just like fit that position so well. Is that like, am I saying that right? Like Brandon Lau is just such a second baseman, and I don't think that they can move him anywhere else on the infield.
Well, he's a second baseman. He plays second base.
Like we know that plenty of guys at the major league level, if they can play short, they can play second. Trey Turner, when he was on the Dodgers, the first season that he got traded over there, he played second, not short. You know, that type of thing. Like we see a lot of those players in baseball. Aaron Judge played center field, not right field, for it was like 80 games, 90 games. Like it just feels like these guys are all just that position and that position only. Especially when I think about their defense, you know, like Randy can't go play center field.
Well, they have a set lineup.
Right. It's very interesting. Like there's no question about, you know, oh, I wonder who the shortstop's going to be today. Oh, I wonder who the left fielder's going to be today. Like all of the, like every position is locked in.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Maybe not as much with their bench. I'm going to be honest, but that's why they're bench pieces. I mean, I feel like you stated the obvious there, yeah. But. I mean, you're not wrong, I guess. They do all have their positions, and I get what you mean, how a lot of teams are saying, who's going to be at short today? Who's going to be at second today? Who's going to be in left? Who's DHing? This lineup seems like they know who's at each position most days,
yeah.
Which is something you like nowadays.
The stability of a lineup is very valuable.
I agree.
Yep.
Moving to their rotation, this was one of the higher ones that we had for them. An 8.7 on their rotation. The Rays pitching staff is always built different.
Yes.
They are always really, really good. We also graded this when Tyler Glasnow was fully healthy. Tyler Glasnow has now an oblique injury that'll keep him out at least 6 weeks, so he'll miss the first couple of weeks of the season more than likely. He could just make it. But that's if he recovers within the 4 weeks rather than the 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and that's just barely making it.
And even then, I don't know how willing the Rays would be to rush him.
No, I'm not saying they would. I'm just saying if he were to, that's the only way he would be able to make it for the first couple weeks of the season, is if he did somehow get better.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll take it slow because he is he's their top end starter.
Yeah. Right behind Shane McClanahan, or right in front. It depends on the day. The rest of their rotation, Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, Zach Eflin, Jeffrey Springs, Yanni Chirinos. Zach Eflin got in free agency. He was a Philly. Not anymore. I think that was a pretty good pickup. Shane McClanahan also was amazing last season.
Yeah.
Couldn't really ask for much more from Shane McClanahan.
How was his... I feel like his first half was much better than his second half.
I can check for you.
Yeah, can you look that up for me?
Yeah, but either way, this Yanni Chirinos probably isn't in this rotation if it isn't for
the injury.
Tyler Glasnow's injury, which hopefully won't last too long. So I think with Tyler Glasnow, I still stick to my gut and stick to our numbers and say that it is an 8.7 rotation. When you're going against McClanahan, Rasmussen, and Glasnow. In a 5-game series, those are the first 3. If you're the Rays, you're feeling pretty good. Rasmussen kind of broke out last year. He just I felt like game after game was just good, great. That was a great game. That was a good game. I had him on a couple of my fantasy teams, so that's why I was keeping my eye on him. And he was sneakily good.
And adding Zach Eflin to this rotation, although it doesn't seem like much, is actually extremely valuable because when Tyler Glasnow does come back, Yanni Chirinos gets knocked out of the starting rotation, goes probably to the bullpen, I would assume. We're going to see a rotation of McClanahan, Glasnow, Rasmussen, Zach Eflin, Jeffrey Springs, and that's up there with the best of them if we're talking about playoff teams. It's not the star-studded Garrett Coles, Shohei Ohtani's. you know, I almost said Corbin Carroll, Corbin Burns, Sandy Alcantara's, but these guys have much more consistency compared to like those top end rotations like the Mets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. McClanahan was a lot worse in the second half, a 4.20 ERA in the second half, compared to a 1.71 in the first half. So he was a lot worse in the second half. I believe he struggled with an injury, so that probably has something to do with it. Probably has a lot to do with it, actually.
I can imagine so.
Who am I kidding?
So let's hope for a full healthy year out of him.
Yeah, no, I always root for full healthy years out of everyone. I'm not hoping anyone gets hurt. But yeah, that Zach Eflin pickup was very good. I agree. Jeffrey Springs was another guy who just kind of was sneakily good last year. He just kind of went out, did the damn thing. Last year had a 2.46 ERA in 25 starts, 33 total games. Just the Rays seem to have this way of making these random guys just dogs.
Yeah.
No matter what they do with them, they know what's best to do with them, and they just make them as good as they possibly can. And
also when they're
good
young.
for the Rays. Yeah, and when they're young, because that's how you do it. If you're gonna do it, might as well start them while they're young.
Yep.
So they can have that time to adjust, which is what they do. So it's smart. It's smart. They know what they're doing, and they're good at it. As far as their defense as far as their bullpen goes, we gave them an 8.4, right up there with the rotation. The names are kind of crazy, and that's even after losing Brooks Raley, or getting rid of him, rather. Andrew Kittredge is injured, Tommy John in June, so he won't be back. He's going to be a minus from this bullpen. But you got Ryan Thompson, Jalen Beeks, Jason Adam, who, dog. Pete Fairbanks, also a dog. Sean Armstrong, dog. Garrett Clevenger, dog. Just everyone in this bullpen is just good. Like they can use a bullpen game and probably pitch a shutout.
Yeah, they definitely could. This bullpen is just absolutely solid. I would be usually when you get when hitters when a lineup gets to the bullpen, it's always like, okay, like let's like really lock in. This is our time to capitalize, and I think that this is one of the bullpens where now we're getting to the upper echelon of bullpens, and we can start saying like, it's not so easy to score on this bullpen. And each pitcher is dominant at their own thing, it feels like. I haven't looked too much into it, but it wouldn't surprise me if, each one of these pitchers only throws 2 or 3 pitches that are just absolutely lights out.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know perfectly what they're doing.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. Going back to their starters really quick, they do have Shane Baz, who we didn't mention. He had Tommy John in September, so he won't be back this season. But that's another hit to their rotation that does kind of stink. But with the rotation, they can still surprise a lot of people, and then having that bullpen back them up, which I think that bullpen is really good and can shut down most teams in baseball. That is what's going to win them a lot of games this season.
Yep.
And then their lineup is going to score runs. That's just a Rays thing. So
of course,
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. This team is going to be fun.
It's going to be the same story. It's going to be the same story as always. They're going to find a way to win somehow. They're just going to beat up a bunch of teams, and by the end of the season, we're going to be looking at it like the Rays did a lot better than everyone realized this season.
The Rays won 93 games. What the hell?
Yeah, it's gonna be. So they had 86 wins last season. They are projected to win 86 games this season. I think that's around the right number, 86.
I would still go higher.
I don't know if I would. They're not.
It
could be higher by like 1 or 2, but I wouldn't necessarily say they're gonna win 90 games.
Locking in at 90.
You think they're gonna win 90 games?
90 games on the dot.
All right, you do you. I'll let you do that.
And you know what? Tell you what, they'll walk off the last game of the season to get to 90.
Wow. Yeah, not happening.
Oh yes, it will.
No, not happening.
Yes, it will.
Not happening.
It would be funny if they don't play at home, and then it's like, yeah,
they probably don't even play at home. I'm not taking the time to look that up. Should we? We gotta look it up.
Okay, now we gotta.
Rays schedule 2023. All right. So what else we got while we're
we can talk about the next part of our ranking here, which is coaching. We brought it in at a 7.9, just barely missed the 8 mark. Kevin Cash knows what he's doing.
Kevin Cash is a very good manager.
Very good manager, as long as it's not Game 5 of the World Series.
Yeah, they're not home.
They're not home?
No.
Okay, so a go-ahead.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But Kevin Cash is a very good manager, as long as it's not Game 5 of the World Series, and you have a great pitcher on the mound who's absolutely lighting up an offense that has been otherworldly for a season. Kevin Cash is a very good manager, well as all of his coaches and the coaching staff, because they just continue to develop players over and over and over and over and over that just keep surprising us. So you can't really take anything away from that. 7.9, honestly, with how much talent they have and how much talent they could have this season, we could have given them a much higher score.
Yeah, I was going to say 7.9 could even be considered low because of what they tend to do with players and how good players tend to become after, the Rays get a hold of them. So I think 7.9 was maybe a little worse than it should have been.
Yeah, definitely on the lower end, but prove us wrong. Rays.
We're not going to be watching the Rays and be like, good coaching. 8.2.
All right, one watch. Everybody knows the rules.
Yeah. No. I'm excited to see what they can do with random guys this season. Like, who's going to be the next random guy from the Rays that just comes out of nowhere and we're all taking notice of him.
Or who's going to be the next guy that they traded for like 3 years ago when he was in like high A.
Yeah.
And he's going to come up and just be absolutely throw back-to-back no-hitters.
How'd that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a 5-homer game, like just something ridiculous.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
For the last category, energy, we gave him a 5.2. I think that's fair. Yeah. There are, obviously there's guys who kind of bring energy every day.
Wander, Randy, McClanahan. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Everyone else just kind of exists. We also didn't really talk about what they lost this season. As far as the pitching side of things, Corey Kluber, who was pretty good for them last season.
Even better for the Guardians in that playoff series.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan Yarbrough, who, crazy that they lost him. He was very good. I think it stinks that they lost him. I think he was a really good piece.
Yep.
As far as relievers go, Matt Weisler, who was also a pretty good reliever, and Nick Anderson, who was a very good reliever, went to the Braves on a 1-year deal. Their lineup took hits. Mike Zunino left, which is why you got Bethancourt and Mejia going to split time at catcher. Roman Quinn, who wasn't a big part of their team. David Peralta, who they traded for, didn't really equate to anything in the end.
I'm shocked that they didn't even think about re-signing him.
They don't want him. They have Yandy Diaz. They have Harold Ramirez. They don't want. They're the Rays. They're the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah. They're gonna do the most Rays thing possible.
I guess.
They let Kevin Kiermaier walk. They said, we're done with you, KK. Thank you for however many years. You're not good enough for us anymore. Go to the Blue Jays.
The thank you.
I don't like it.
The thank you video was pretty good.
Didn't watch it.
I liked it.
I'll be honest.
Kevin Kiermaier has been always a staple of the Tampa Bay Rays, and it's kind of, I think it's the final, like, it's the straw that broke the camel's back, in the sense of, like, the Rays are, like, officially committing to being the Rays now. Like, now their new Kevin Kiermaier, because before Kevin Kiermaier, it was Evan Longoria, who they had around. Then it was Kevin Kiermaier, who came in a few years later. And then now it's going to be Wander Franco.
Yeah.
It's always going to be one staple guy, and then everybody else is going to just keep moving around. You're going to see guys go over there and get $20 million a year contract. Yeah, and then you're going to see them bring in some guy from, like, the Dominican on a league minimum deal, and he'll hit 45 bombs and drive in 150 RBIs in, like, a World Series conquest,
Yeah, Ray's going to Ray. They're going to be the most sneaky team in baseball. They're going to creep up on every other team.
They're going to be lurking.
They're going to just come out of nowhere. Yeah, they lurk. They lurk.
They'll be like that team in the American League that's really that like you can say, oh, they're fighting for a wild card, and they're not really in it. But then those last that last month of the season, when everyone's kind of gearing up, like, okay, we feel kind of locked in our playoff spot, the Rays are going to swipe in and steal that last wild card.
Yeah, they take advantage. They seize the opportunities that they get. So yeah, really certainly a dangerous team when they can be.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about any rookies on the Rays?
Of course. So as for the rookie report, it's a little difficult because most of their rookies could genuinely just come up at any time. Most of their prospects could just come up at any time. One of them being Taj Bradley, who I think will be up. But that's not who I really want to focus on today. Who I want to tell you guys about is currently in the MLB's top 100 prospects for the 2023 season. He is ranked in at 33rd in all of MLB. It is Curtis Mead, who's a second baseman, third baseman type of guy. Last season, he played in AA and AAA, where he hit just under 300, just missed it, where he hit 298 with a 922 OPS over the course of 76 games, while tallying 13 homers, 50 RBIs, and 27 doubles. Only striking out very few times compared to other rookies that we've talked about throughout our Will Be. Struck out 62 times and walked half of the times that he struck out as well, with 36 strikeouts. That's impressive. And this is a guy that I think if you asked me to sum up the Rays organization by showing you one MLB level player and one prospect, the one MLB player would be Wander and the one prospect would be Curtis Mead. Because this guy, I feel like, can have a serious impact this season if he gets the opportunity to play, which hopefully he should break camp and maybe be a guy that we could talk about coming up in the first couple months of the season. I just think that he's going to impact the game offensively for the Rays this upcoming season.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
I want to see the young guy just come up and immediately make an impact. That's kind of things you love to see.
Yep.
I love that. All right. Well, so the 86 wins, you think they're going over?
Over.
I'm going to go with even. I think exactly 86. Replicate last season.
So if it was 86 and a half?
Under. I just said 86.
Oh, you said exactly 86. Oh, okay.
But yeah. So now we're going to do fun part.
Of course.
The MVP hitter and MVP pitcher for the team. Lewis, who will be the MVP hitter for the Tampa Bay Rays?
The MVP hitter will be Randy Arozarena.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Yandy Diaz. Big Yandy Diaz guy here.
Big Yandy Diaz guy. All right.
What about MVP pitcher?
For MVP pitcher, when he does come back, Tyler Glasnow, I think he's gonna hit the ground running.
All right. I'm gonna go with Shane McClanahan.
It's a good pick.
I might as well.
Yep.
Shane McClanahan, the young guy, proved himself last season.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I really have to say about it.
Of course.
Do we have anything else
Not that
to say about the Rays?
Not that I know.
I just think they're going to be a pesky team. That's what they always are.
Of
always
course.
have been, always will be.
Yep. Live and die by it, Rays. Congratulations.
They love it. They love that life. So now I'm going to say the 2023 Rays will be in, and you will tell me what place the Rays will be in this season. Lewis, the 2023 Tampa Bay Rays will be in
4th place in the AL East.
4th place in the AL East.
With 90 wins.
With 90 wins, right.
I'm sure it's going to be a dogfight.
I'm sure that's possible.
It is.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with 3rd place for now.
Okay.
I'm going to have them in 3rd. Wow, I just spelled your name really wrong. Yeah, so I'm going to go 3rd. You're with 4th. And, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, you know your team better than us. So if you are a Rays fan, if they do exist, you know your team better than we do.
If they do
so
exist.
let us know what you agreed with, disagreed with, and yeah, we will see you guys in the next one, which is going to be their division rival, the Baltimore Orioles. Let's go Rays.
Let's go Rays. Rays up, baby.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say the same thing. All right, we will see you guys next time. Peace.